Hi, I'm Samuel Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, Achieving Potential. Today, I just wanted to officially welcome you to my first proper video on YouTube. And this has been on my mind for a very long time, and I'm really excited to start this journey with you. I've been working in the NHS for just under 10 years now. I started out as a Band 5 nurse and have progressed to my current role as a Band 8C program manager. The purpose of this channel is simple. I want to close opportunity gaps, and I want to help you achieve your potential by sharing my experience and my network as well, lessons that we've learned along the way, and some of the strategies that we've picked up that will help accelerate your NHS career. And that's whether you're starting out as a clinician, or you're already experienced in the NHS, or you just want to explore new career options, because there are career options in consulting and elsewhere. I didn't have a mentor when I started, nor did I know the type of career that I wanted. I had no plan, zero. I just wanted a job. But today, I think I can articulate better the meaning in what I do as a clinician, as a program manager, and as a senior leader in the NHS. It has had a real impact on my career, being able to articulate my why, because this extends and has an impact in the lives of the patients and the people that you work with. There is purpose in helping others, and that's whether you're providing frontline care, or you're improving systems, or you are looking at how the NHS and services are managed where you live. Now, back to the career. I know that it can be overwhelming when you don't know where to look or what's possible out there in terms of your career options. And oftentimes when you begin to look under the hood, there are lots of jargon around there. You think of things like ICS, integrated care systems, ICPs, internal controls. You hear things like balanced scorecard, pay, non-pay expenditure, NHS long-term plan, 5-year forward view. I want to guide you through that, and I will be sharing practical tips in future videos, tips that have worked for me and hopefully can work for you too. Just before we continue, I'm going to ask a favor of you guys. What do you think the difference is between a mentor and a sponsor? Please put your answers in the comments area, and we can explore that further, because that's a very interesting topic for me. Okay, now let's go on to the career path overview. I'll give you a little bit of a background about myself and how I got to where I am. I don't want to make this video about myself, but I think it's important that my subscribers understand where I've come from and hopefully where I'm going to, and I can bring you along on that journey. I started in the NHS in 2010 and graduated in 2014 as a nurse, as a clinician. I worked in A&E to expose me to direct patient care in a high-pressured environment, because no matter how you practice or how much you study, nothing prepares you quite like a real patient with real illnesses. Your first day on the ward, providing medication and knowing that your pain is on the line. That was, that was a moment I'll never forget. But then I decided to go into working with very acutely ill patients. I worked in HIV, I worked in infectious diseases, and because I made a deliberate decision when I qualified to explore the clinical area as much as possible. So I did some stints in elderly ward, worked as a community nurse, but my family have also been my North Star. And when I began to suffer excruciating back pain in my lower vertebrae, my other half encouraged me to look for opportunities that didn't require 12-hour shifts, standing up, the score. Plus I had 2 children under 6, and I wanted to be as present in their lives as much as possible. And one of my mentors at the time suggested, Samuel, why don't you think about health visiting as a career? I was reluctant to do this in the first instance for the following reasons. Number one, I had to go back to uni to study at level 7 for postgraduate diploma. And number two, health visiting is primarily seen as a more feminine occupation. Number three, you go into people's homes. You are exposed to the elements as a health visitor. And I also felt that health visiting might pigeonhole me and maybe was a dead end option. It was always seen as, a retirement focused role for people who just wanted somewhere easy to go out and play out the rest of their career. But I went ahead. Why? Because I'm a curious person and I did my homework. And I became convinced that health visiting as a career looked to improve services. You work hand in glove with education, social care, and it gave me an exposure to population health. I also graduated as a band 6. I also worked only Mondays to Friday, 9 to 5. And I learned so much about child and maternal health than any time in my life. Health visiting also introduced me to the concept of health inequalities. And the best part of my job as a health visitor were the families I actually worked with, just being able to work with these people in a transformational way. It lit a fire in my belly, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to have a better understanding of how care was delivered across different settings and those areas of integration, if you like, working across boundaries with health, social care, mental health, housing, the criminal justice system. I began to research how the NHS was funded and study NHS governance, introductory guide to NHS finance with the HFMA. So I can say that becoming a health visitor was a turning point in my career. And since then, I've moved a band every 2 years without fail. So I graduated in 2014 as a band 5. You do the maths. Today, I'm a band 8C. And I'm really grateful to my network, the clinicians, the ward clerks, chief executives, the chief operating officers, directors of operation, finance, nursing, strategy, and even patients. In some cases, there are patients who have recommended me to people who have been able to give me a boost in my career. Let me move on to opportunities in the NHS, which is one of the primary reasons for starting this channel. I'll go through a list of roles randomly. You've got things like quality improvement lead, service improvement manager, transformation manager, healthcare operations director, project manager, program director, health policy advisor, consultant, commissioning manager, strategic development manager, chief operating officer, even up to chief executives. These are all roles that are achievable within healthcare, whether you're working at strategic, tactical, or operational level. And just very quickly, if I could break that down for you, operational are frontline care staff who provide bedside support. Tactical are kind of your team leaders, and they are the ones that sort of are at the center of the organizational objectives and operational roles. And then you've got the strategic roles, which are the outward facing, and they plan for the long term for the organization. Now, there are opportunities, so many, whether you want to stay in a clinical role or move into management, or if you want to focus on quality improvement or even finance, there is something for everyone within the health service. If you were a band 5 nurse now and you were interested, for example, in moving into clinical operations or becoming a team leader, there are competencies that you need to know that help you get to that destination in a short time. It just depends on your willingness and your capability. There are training opportunities as well within organizations, and if you don't ask, you don't get. And there are other scaffolding, I believe, support you. Going on leadership courses, for example, learning about lean management, getting mentorship, getting sponsorship, getting training opportunities. As a health visitor, I went back to school to complete a postgraduate degree, and that might be something that's available to you. It was paid for by the NHS, and it has opened doors for me. It's all about continuous learning and positioning yourself for the next step, because it's opportunity meeting preparation. I'll talk to you just quickly about personal growth and my reflections. I think if I look back, one of the most important lessons I've learned is the value of stepping out of your comfort zone. And for me, this isn't reflected in one single event, but throughout my career. I've taken risks. And sometimes I've gone looking for opportunity where it didn't look like or it didn't seem there was one. I was the only male health visitor in Islington for 2 years. That was out of my comfort zone. One job I took as a band 7 was a 5-hour round trip to Slough in Berkshire. That was out of my comfort zone, and I was never late to the office. I volunteered to manage a mass vaccination site during COVID. I had never done that before. That was out of my comfort zone. Writing my first business case, resigning from a permanent role to take up a fixed-term contract because I bet on myself. That wasn't easy, and that was out of my comfort zone. But all these experiences collectively have been invaluable to me, to my confidence and for my competence, and also giving stakeholders assurance that I know what I'm doing. It's about people, processes, and systems. I cannot begin to explain the importance of understanding policy and strategy in the NHS, at least not today. That's not something we're going to deal with. But taking risk has paid off for me, and that curiosity professionally that you have to experience discomfort to grow to the next level. And that's whether it's relocating for a new role or taking on responsibilities you've never handled before. I believe that growth comes from pushing yourself, using a credible reference point or someone as a reference point. Another quiz for you. Why would you travel or relocate for a role? Put your answers in the comment area. I'm just going to finish off by giving you some actionable advice. How can you take the next step in your career? One of the first things I'll encourage you to do is to take stock of your strengths and your areas of weaknesses, or where you might have a developmental need. Are you interested in leadership or management? Seek out opportunities to manage people or lead a project, even if it's a simple clinical audit. Are you interested in governance or quality improvement? What excites you? Start learning about those areas. Find a mentor who's already in that space and talk to people in roles that you have an interest in. They are all around you if you look. If you get no joy from people within your organization, I suggest you engage with people on LinkedIn. Politely ask people for 15 minutes of their time to talk to you about their career or to talk to them. I promise you, I think 1 in 10, you'll get a result, because people like to talk about themselves. So one of the things I've done to support you, I know I did say do a bit of a self-assessment, your areas of strength and weakness. Stephen Bartlett, the Diary of Your CEO, he talks about this KNSSR framework, which is skills, knowledge, network, resources, and reputation. These are 5 pillars, I believe, that are instrumental in terms of planning your future. Your knowledge and your skills are foundational. These can never be taken away from you. Even if you lose your network, your reputation, and resources, you will stay with your knowledge and your skills, and you can always build again from there. So, because it's innate, it's something that you keep. Another piece of advice for you, don't be afraid to ask questions. I've always been a why type person. When someone tells me something, I ask why. And if I don't understand it, I go learn it. So again, that professional curiosity helps you uncover opportunities that might not be obvious at first. Learning to ask open questions and put yourself out there, whether it's applying for a course, whether it's shadowing a senior colleague, or attending a workshop within your organization or externally. I learned a long time ago from observation that it's the man that knows why that will always be the boss of the man that knows how. At some point in your career, you should be able to take appraisal of yourself and articulate where and why you are where you are, but also where and why you'd like to go. Taking stock of your knowledge and skills makes that easy. So these activities will help you form your personal development plan. I've got one more quiz for you. Which is more important, knowledge or skills? Please let me know in the comments area. If you've liked this video, please, I would appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. It's been a journey, but with the right guidance, attitude, and mindset, you can close all opportunity gaps and achieve your potential. Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.